Imagine a night in the desert. The warm wind gently touches the sand, and it rustles as if it whispers ancient secrets. Somewhere in the distance, the rustle of palm leaves is heard, soft, almost imperceptible. You are lying on a thin mat woven from reeds. It pricks your skin slightly, but you don't pay attention. The sky is above you. Boundless, studded with stars. They are flickering, distant, cold, but so bright. You are not in a modern hotel where there is a soft bed, cool air conditioning, clean bottled water. No. You are in ancient Egypt. And this is not the romantic adventure you might dream of while flipping through books or watching movies. This is a harsh reality. A reality where every day is a struggle. Fighting the heat. With sand. With fatigue. With hunger. Close your eyes. Relax. Let me tell you why you probably wouldn't have lasted a day in ancient Egypt. Maybe even longer. This is going to be a long story. Very long. Slow. Full of details. It won't be exciting. It won't make your heart beat faster. She'll just take you to another world. Into a world where everything was different. Make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. And let's get started. Today we will go through one day in ancient Egypt. We're going to talk about how people woke up. What they ate. How they worked. How they coped with the heat. With sand. With mosquitoes. It won't be exciting. It will be peaceful. Monotonous. Comfortably. Like the murmur of water in a canal. Like the rustle of the wind in the palm trees. Like the creaking of sand underfoot. So relax. Let this story take you to a place where time passed slowly. Very slowly. Where every day was similar to the previous one. And the next one. And all the others. First morning, for 400 words, you're waking up. It's still dark, but the first rays of the sun are making their way through the cracks in the walls of your house. The house is simple. The walls are made of mud bricks, a mixture of clay, sand, and straw dried in the sun. The walls are thick, but they don't keep out the heat. It smells like earth inside. Dust. Maybe yesterday's food. You are lying on a woven mat. It's thin, slightly stiff. There is an earthen floor under it. It's warm, but rough. Sand. He's everywhere. It creaks under your fingers when you sit down. You rub your eyes. There's sand there too. He's always around. In ancient Egypt, sand was a part of life. Like the air. Like water. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it, you sit down on the mat. The room is quiet. Only the sound of splashing water is heard in the distance. This is the Nile. The great river. Without her, there would be no Egypt. Without her, you would not exist. You get up. Your feet are touching a warm, rough floor. The sand creaks again. You put on a loincloth. It is made of linen. Roughly woven linen. It slightly rubs the skin. But that's all you have. No soft tissues. No comfortable t-shirts. No shorts. Only flax. Sometimes it's white. Sometimes dirty from dust and sweat. You get used to it. Or trying to. Your first task is to get water. In ancient Egypt, water was the basis of everything. The Nile fed fields, people, and animals. But the river doesn't flow directly to your house. You take an earthenware jug. It's heavy, even empty. The clay is warm to the touch, slightly rough. You put the jug on your shoulder. Or you carry it on your head, as the locals do. You've seen women carrying jugs, balancing them with such ease. You're trying. But the jug is heavy. He presses on my shoulder. Or on his head. You go to the canal. A system takes time. The path is narrow. The sand burns my feet. You're walking barefoot. Sandals are a luxury. You don't have any. The sun is already higher. Its rays dazzle the eyes. You're squinting. The sand crunches underfoot. The wind carries the smell of water. And Isla. And land. The channel is in front of you. The water in it is cloudy. Sometimes there are leaves floating in it. Or small branches. Sometimes it's something else. But this is your water. You bend down. You scoop up the jug. The water is heavy. The jug gets even heavier. You pick it up. My shoulder is aching. You're going back. The sand creaks again. The sun burns my back. Sweat runs down my temples. You take it step by step. The path seems longer than it was in the morning. The jug is crushing. But you're coming. Because there is no life without water. There is no food without water. There are no fields. There is no you. You're going home. Put the jug in the shade. The water is warm. With a slight taste of silt. You take a sip. The sand grates on my teeth. It is okay. You get used to it. Or trying to. Now it's time to eat. The breakfast is simple. A flatbread made from barley. Or emmer. It's dense. Tough. Sometimes there are small pebbles in it. Or pieces of grain. They get stuck in your teeth. You chew slowly. There is some dried fish nearby. It's salty. With a strong smell. And a bow. Everyone ate onions in ancient Egypt. In the morning. In the daytime. In the evening. You take a bite of an onion. It crunches. The taste is sharp. But you get used to it. You're chewing. Gradually. Time passes slowly. You're looking at your family. My wife is kneading the dough for new tortillas. She's sitting by the hearth. The hearth is just a depression in the earthen floor. The branches are smoldering in it. The smoke stings my eyes slightly. But you get used to it. Children are playing in the corner. They're running. The sand creaks under their feet. You tell them to be quiet. They don't listen. You sigh. It's an ordinary morning. The same as yesterday. And the day before yesterday. And tomorrow it will be the same. You finish your water. The sand is back on my teeth. You get used to it. Or trying to. You're looking at a jug. It's almost empty. I'll have to go get water again soon. But not now. You are currently preparing for work. You take the basket. There are tools in it. A hoe. The sickle. Maybe a rope. It's simple. Wooden. Stone. You check the hoe. The stone at the end is slightly wobbly. You tighten the rope that holds it. It will take time. But you're not in a hurry. Time passes slowly in ancient Egypt, making tortillas. The wife takes the grain. Barley. Or emmer. She puts it on the stone. The stone is flat and heavy. She picks up another stone. The smaller one. It's also heavy. She's pushing. The grain crunches. She pushes again. And again. The grain turns into flour. There is little flour. She adds water. From the jug. The water is warm. With silt. She's kneading the dough. My hands are covered in flour. Water drips onto the floor. The sand sticks to the dough. She's kneading. Long. The dough is thick. It forms tortillas. He puts them on a hot stone by the hearth. The smoke stings my eyes. The tortillas are baked. The smell is warm. But there is sand in it. You're chewing. The sand creaks. You get used to it. A conversation with a neighbor. You go to get the water again. The canal has a neighbor. He's older. His bandage is dirtier. He looks at the water. The heat is worse than yesterday, he says. You nod. Tomorrow it will be even worse, you reply. He nods. You scoop up the water. Him too. You go back together. The sand creaks. You are silent. Conversation is not necessary. You get used to it. The second trip for water, the jug is empty. You take it again. The path to the channel is the same. The sand burns. The water is cloudy. You're scooping it up. The jug is heavy. My shoulder is aching. You're coming back. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. You put the jug in the shade. You're drinking. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. You're waking up. It's the same as yesterday. The first rays of the sun are making their way through the cracks in the walls of your house. The house is made of mud brick, a mixture of clay, sand, and straw dried in the sun. The walls are thick, but the heat still gets inside. The room smells of earth. Dust. Maybe last night's dinner. You are lying on a woven mat. It is thin and slightly pricks the skin. Beneath it is an earthen floor, warm but rough. Sand. He's everywhere. It creaks under your fingers when you sit down. You rub your eyes. There's sand there too. He's always around. In ancient Egypt, sand was a part of life. Like the air. Like water. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it, you sit down on the mat. The room is quiet. Only the distant splashing of water is heard. This is the Nile. A great river, without which there would be no life. You get up. The feet touch the floor. The sand creaks. You put on a linen loincloth. It's rough, a little dirtier than yesterday, from dust and sweat. But that's all you have. No soft t-shirts. No comfortable trousers. Only flax. You get used to it. Or trying to. Your first task is water. The Nile is far away, but the channel is closer. You take an earthenware jug. It's heavy, even empty. The clay is warm and rough. You put the jug on your shoulder. Or you try to carry it on your head, like the local women. They make it so easy, but you have a picture of pressure. My shoulder is aching. You go to the canal. The path is narrow. The sand burns my feet. You're barefoot, sandals for the rich. The sun is rising higher. His rays are blinding. You're squinting. The sand crunches underfoot. The wind carries the smell of water. And Isla. And the land, the channel is in front of you. The water is cloudy. Leaves, twigs, and sometimes something else are floating in it. But this is your water. You bend down. You scoop up the jug. The water is heavy. The jug is even heavier. My shoulder is aching more. You're going back. The sand creaks. The sun burns my back. Sweat runs down my temples. The path seems longer. The jug is crushing. But you're coming. There is no life without water. There is no food without water. There are no fields. There is no you. You're going home. Put the jug in the shade. The water is warm, with a taste of silt. You take a sip. The sand grates on my teeth. It is okay. You get used to it. The breakfast is simple. Flatbread made from barley or emmer. It is dense, rigid. Sometimes there are pebbles or pieces of grain in it. They get stuck in your teeth. You chew slowly. There's dried fish nearby. It's salty, it smells sharp. And a bow. Everyone ate onions. In the morning. In the daytime. In the evening. You take a bite of the onion. It crunches. The taste is sharp. You get used to it. Time passes slowly. You're looking at a family. My wife is kneading dough by the hearth, a hollow in the floor where the branches are smoldering. The smoke stings my eyes. The kids are running around in the corner. The sand creaks under their feet. You're asking them to be quieter. They don't listen. You sigh. It's an ordinary morning. Like yesterday. Like tomorrow, making tortillas. The wife takes the grain. Barley or emmer. He puts it on a flat stone. He takes another stone, smaller but heavy. It's pressing. The grain crunches. She pushes again. The grain becomes flour. There is little flour. She adds water from a jug. The water is warm, with silt. Kneading the dough. My hands are covered in flour. The sand sticks. She kneads for a long time. The dough is thick. Forms tortillas. He puts them on a hot stone by the hearth. The smoke stings my eyes. The tortillas are baked. The smell is warm, but with sand. You're chewing. The sand creaks. You get used to it. The second trip for water. The jug is empty. You take it again. You go to the canal. The sand burns. The water is cloudy. You scoop it up. The jug is heavy. My shoulder is aching. You're coming back. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. Put the jug in the shade. You're drinking. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. A conversation with a neighbor. The canal has a neighbor. His bandage is dirtier. The heat is worse than yesterday, he says. Tomorrow is even worse, you reply. He nods. You scoop up the water. You're going back. The sand creaks. Conversation is not necessary. You get used to it. Preparation for work. You're getting ready for work. Take the basket. There's a hoe, a sickle, and a rope in it. It's simple. Wooden. Stone. The hoe is heavy. The stone at the end is wobbly. You tighten the rope. It takes time. But you're not in a hurry. Time passes slowly. You pray to Ra. You are standing in front of the house. Raise your hands to the sun. Ask for a good day. But the day will be like yesterday. You go to the field. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. You're thinking about water. About the field. About the tortillas. About the sand. Step by step. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Production of raw bricks. Sometimes you make bricks. Clay from the Nile. Mix it with sand. Add the straw. The straw pricks my hands. Knead with your feet. The clay is sticky. The sand creaks. You form the bricks. You put it in the sun. They're drying out. Gradually. You're waiting. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. The sun is already high. The heat is becoming unbearable. You take a hoe. It is made of wood and stone. The wood is smooth, polished by your hands over the years. The stone at the end is blunt, but that's all you have. You check the rope that holds it. It's sturdy, but a little worn out. You're dragging it out. It takes time. But you're not in a hurry. Time passes slowly in ancient Egypt. Very slowly. You hang the hoe on your shoulder. It's heavy, it's crushing. You go to the field. The sand burns my feet. You're walking barefoot. Sandals are a luxury, and you are a simple peasant. The path is narrow and dusty. The sand creaks underfoot. The wind carries the smell of water. And Isla. And land. Somewhere in the distance, the Nile is lapping. But you don't think about him. You're thinking about the field. About the job. About the sand. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it, you reach your site. The ground is dry. Solid. The Nile flood season has not started yet. Without water, a field is just dust and sand. You start digging. The hoe hits the ground. Hit. A jerk. Another blow. The earth doesn't give in easily. She's as hard as a rock. Sand flies into the eyes. You're squinting. Sweat runs down my back. On the temples. On the neck. You wipe your forehead. The sand sticks to the skin. He's everywhere. In my hair. On my hands. On my feet. You are working. Hour after hour. Hit. A jerk. Hit. Sand. Sweat. Heat. You get used to it. Or trying to dot your digging channels. When the Nile floods, the water should come to the field. Without channels, the water will not reach. There will be no harvest without water. There will be no food without harvest. You're digging. The hoe is heavy. My hands are aching. My shoulder hurts, the same one that hurt in the morning when you were carrying a jug of water. The sun is burning. You're squinting. Mosquitoes buzz around. You shrug it off. But they're coming back. They always come back. You get used to it. Or trying to. You are not alone. There are other peasants nearby. They're digging too. Their hoes are pounding on the ground. Hit. A jerk. Hit. Someone is talking. Someone is silent. You hear voices. The heat is worse than yesterday, says one. His voice is tired and hoarse. It's going to be even worse tomorrow, the other replies. You nod. But you don't answer. Strength is needed for work. You're digging. Hit. A jerk. Hit. The sand is flying. Sweat is flowing. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it. Or trying to a lunch break, the sun is at its zenith. The heat is unbearable. You walk into the shade of a palm tree. The shadow is narrow, but it's better than nothing. You sit down on the ground. The sand is warm. It creaks under you. You take out a flatbread. She's as hard as this morning. Maybe it's the same one. There are several dates nearby. They're sweet, but they're not enough. You chew slowly. Dates are sticky and stick to your fingers. The sand sticks to the dates. You get used to it. Or trying to. There is a clay bowl with beer in the basket. Everyone drank beer in ancient Egypt. It's thick, with sediment. It looks like thin bread. The taste is sour and strange. But it saves you from thirst. You drink slowly. The sand grates on my teeth. Even beer has it. You get used to it. Or trying to. You're looking at the field. It's big. The work is endless. You're thinking about the Nile. About how it will spill. How the water floods the fields. How will you sow the barley? Or emmer? Or flax? You're thinking about it. But take your time. Time passes slowly. The second day on the field, the next day you're back on the field. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. You take a hoe. It's heavy. The stone is blunt. You're digging. Hit. A jerk. Hit. The ground is solid. Sand flies into the eyes. Sweat is flowing. The mosquitoes are buzzing. You shrug it off. They're coming back. You hear voices. Will the Nile spill soon? Someone asks. Maybe in a week, the other replies. You nod. But you don't answer. You're digging. Hit. A jerk. Hit. Sand. Sweat. Heat. You get used to it. Lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. You sit in the shade. The sand creaks. You're chewing. You're drinking. Sand on the teeth. You're looking at the field. It's still dry. You're thinking about the Nile. About the water. About the future harvest. But take your time. Time passes slowly. A sowing of barley. When the Nile overflows, you will sow. You take a bag of seeds. Barley. It's heavy. You walk across the field. The ground is wet now. The mud sticks to my feet. You're scattering seeds. They fall into the mud. You bury them. The hoe is heavy. The mud is sticky. You are working. Hour after hour. The sand is still here. He mixed with the mud. You get used to it. A conversation with a peasant. Another peasant is digging nearby. His name is Amen. He's older. His hands are covered in calluses. The ground is solid today, he says. As always, you reply. He nods. You're digging. Hit. A jerk. Hit. The sand is flying. You are silent. Conversation is not necessary. You get used to it. Third day on the field, and the third day, it's the same. The sand creaks. The hoe is heavy. The sun is burning. You're digging. Hit. A jerk. Hit. The mosquitoes are buzzing. Sweat is flowing. You're drinking beer. You're eating a flatbread. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. You're thinking about the Nile. About the water. About the field. Time passes slowly. Historical details. Hose and earth hose in ancient Egypt were simple. The wood for the handle was taken from palm trees or acacias. The stone is silicon or basalt. He was tied up with a rope. A rope made of flax or reed. She was wearing out. You fixed it. Over and over again. The land near the Nile was fertile, but hard. Without the spill, it was like a stone. You've been digging. Day after day. The sand creaked. You got used to it. The work of an artisan. You are not a peasant digging canals under the scorching sun. You are a craftsman. Your job is different, but not easier. You are sitting in the workshop. It's a small room made of mud bricks, similar to your house. The walls are thick, but the heat still gets inside. Inside it smells of clay, wood shavings, sweat. The sand creaks underfoot. He's everywhere. On the floor. On the instruments. On your hands. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it. The light comes through a narrow window, a gap in the wall. The sun hits my eyes. You're squinting. Dust dances in the rays of light. Sand settles on everything you do. Time passes slowly. Very slowly. You're making a pot. The clay in front of you is wet, sticky. She smells of earth and the Nile. You take a lump of clay. It's heavy and cold. You put it on a wooden circle. The circle is simple, made of palm wood. You turn it around. Gradually. The clay slides under your fingers. You form the walls of the pot. The fingers move carefully. The walls should be smooth. Thin, but durable. You're pushing. Clay lends itself. But sometimes it cracks. Then you start over. The sand gets into the clay. You take it away. But he's coming back. It always comes back. You get used to it. Or trying to. Your hands are covered in calluses. The fingers are rough from clay. Sometimes you scratch your skin. Blood mixes with clay. It is okay. No one is helping. You are working. Hour after hour. Turning the circle. Pressure. Forming. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. Sweat runs down my forehead. You wipe it off. The sand sticks to the skin. You're squinting. The workshop is quiet. Only the creak of the circle. The rustle of clay. Your sigh. Time passes slowly. There's another craftsman nearby. His name is Ta. He's carving a statuette. His tool is a stone chisel. Simple, but sharp. He's cutting wood. A knock. The rattle. The shavings fall to the floor. The sand mixes with it. The statuette's eyes are uneven, he mutters. I'll fix it tomorrow, he answers himself. You nod. But you don't answer. Strength is needed for work. You turn the circle. The clay slides. The sand creaks. You get used to it. You're looking at a pot. He's almost ready. The walls are smooth. But it's still raw. It needs to dry. Gradually. Under the sun. But not too fast, otherwise it will crack. You put the pot in the corner. There are already others standing there. Some are cracked. You're starting a new one. The clay is sticky. The circle creaks. Sand is everywhere. You are working. Hour after hour. Time passes slowly. Break. The sun is at its zenith. The heat is unbearable. You go into the shadows. Not a palm tree, like the peasants, but a corner of the workshop, where the wall casts a narrow shadow. You sit down on the mat. The sand creaks. You take out a flatbread. She's as solid as ever. Maybe yesterday's. There are several dates nearby. They're sweet and sticky. The sand sticks to your fingers. You chew slowly. Dates are sweet, but there are few of them. There's beer in an earthenware bowl. It's thick and sour. It looks like thin bread. You're drinking. The sand grates on my teeth. Even beer has it. You get used to it. Or trying to. Ta is sitting next to him. He's chewing on a flatbread. The statue is almost ready, he says. Okay, you reply. The conversation is short. Strength is needed for work. You finish your beer. Sand on the teeth. You're looking at the pot in the corner. It's drying out. Gradually. You're thinking about clay. About the sand. About the Nile. Time passes slowly. A fabric making. Sometimes you don't make pots, but you weave fabric. Flax. They bring it from the fields. The fibers are coarse and tough. You are sitting at the machine. The machine is wooden, simple. It is made of palm and reed. You're pulling the thread. She's tearing up. You're tying her up. My fingers ache. The thread is coarse. The sand gets into the fibers. You take it away. But he's coming back. You're weaving. Hour after hour. Thread by thread. The tissue is growing. Gradually. She's rude. 4 bandages. 4 bags. Not for soft clothes. You're weaving. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. Sweat is flowing. You get used to it. You're looking at the fabric. It's uneven. But it's usable. You pull the next thread. She's tearing up. You're linking. My fingers hurt. Sand is everywhere. You're weaving. A bird nearby is cutting a statuette. A knock. The rattle. Is the thread breaking again? He asks. As always, you reply. He nods. You're weaving. Time passes slowly. The second day in the workshop. The next day you are back in the workshop. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. You're making a pot. Or you're weaving a fabric. The circle creaks. The thread breaks. Sand is everywhere. Ta cuts a statuette. A knock. The rattle. The heat is worse than yesterday, he says. Tomorrow is even worse, you reply. You turn the circle. The clay slides. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. You're sitting in the shade. The sand creaks. You're chewing. You're drinking. Sand on the teeth. You're thinking about the pot. About the fabric. About the sand. A bird is chewing nearby. A statuette for the temple, he says. Okay, you reply. Time passes slowly. A firing of pots. When the pots are dry, they need to be fired. You're making a fire. The branches are dry, from a palm tree. The smoke stings my eyes. You put the pots in the pit. Carefully. They're fragile. The fire is burning. The heat is unbearable. The pots are heating up. Some are cracking. It is okay. You're waiting. Hour after hour. The smoke stings my eyes. The sand settles on the pots. You get used to it. You check the pots. Some are ready. Some are cracked. You're starting over. The clay is sticky. The circle creaks. Sand is everywhere. You're sculpting. Time passes slowly. A spinning flax. Flax must be spun before weaving. You take the fibers. They're rude. You're spinning a spindle. It's wooden and heavy. The fibers cling to the fingers. The sand gets into the thread. You take it away. But he's coming back. You're spinning. Hour after hour. The thread is growing. Gradually. She's rude. But it's usable. You're spinning. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it. The third day in the workshop. On the third day, it's the same. The sand creaks. The circle creaks. The thread breaks. The bird cuts. A knock. The rattle. The heat is oppressive. Sweat is flowing. You're sculpting. Or you're weaving. Or spinning. Sand is everywhere. You're drinking beer. You're eating a flatbread. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. Historical details, clay, tools, fabrics. The clay was taken from the Nile. It was sticky and heavy. It was cleaned of sand. But the sand always came back. The pot circles were made of wood, palm or acacia. They were made by other artisans. The chisels for the figurines are made of flint. They were getting stupid. You sharpened them. Stone on stone. It took time. The looms are made of wood and reeds. Linen threads. They were spun by women. The threads were rough. The sand got into them. Flax was grown near the Nile. It was being assembled. Processed. The fibers were tough. The fabric is coarse. For bandages, bags, sails. Not for comfort. You got used to it. Fourth day in the workshop. On the fourth day you are back in the workshop. The sand creaks. You're making a pot. The circle creaks. The clay is sticky. Sand is everywhere. You turn the circle. The walls are growing. Gradually. Ta cuts a statuette. A knock. The rattle. The pot is good, he says. It hasn't cracked yet, you reply. You are working. The heat is oppressive. Sweat is flowing. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. Sand on the teeth. You're thinking about the pot. About the fabric. About the sand. Time passes slowly. A comparison with modernity today. You could turn on an electric potter's wheel. Or a weaving machine. Or buy fabric at the store. Soft. A clean one. Without sand. But in ancient Egypt, it was just your hands. Just clay. Only flax. Just sand. You are working. Hour after hour. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Fifth day in the workshop. On the fifth day, it's the same. The sand creaks. The circle creaks. The thread breaks. The heat is oppressive. You're sculpting. You're weaving. You're spinning. Sand is everywhere. You're drinking beer. You're eating a flatbread. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. Fishing. The sun is high. The heat is unbearable. You are not in a field with a hoe or in a workshop with clay. You're fishing today. You're going to the Nile. The sand burns my feet. You're barefoot. Sandals are a luxury, but you are a simple man. You have a network in your hands. It is heavy, woven from linen. The fibers are coarse and cut into the skin. The net smells of the river, silt, and old fish. The sand sticks to it. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it. The path to the Nile is narrow and dusty. The sand creaks underfoot. The wind carries the smell of water. And Isla. And land. The Nile is close. Its splashing can be heard from afar. This is the sound of life. There are no fish without the Nile. There is no food without fish. Without food, there is no you reach the shore. The Nile is white and murky. The water glitters under the sun. But it's not clean. Leaves, twigs, and sometimes something else are floating in it. Mosquitoes buzz over the water. You shrug it off. They're coming back. They always come back. You are deploying the network. It's heavy and wet. You throw it into the water. She falls with a splash. You're waiting. It's too early to pull. The water splashes. The sand creaks underfoot. The sun burns my back. Sweat runs down my temples. You're squinting. You're waiting. Time passes slowly. Very slowly. You're pulling the net. It's heavy. There's a fish in it. Or nothing. You're pulling harder. The thread cuts into the palm of your hand. The sand sticks to the wet net. You're dragging on. The fish is beating. Or the network is empty. It is okay. You're throwing again. A splash. You're waiting. The sand creaks. The mosquitoes are buzzing. You shrug it off. The sun is burning. You're dragging on. The network is heavy. There's tilapia in it. Or catfish. Or nothing. You're dragging on. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Or trying to. There's another fisherman nearby. His name is Kepri. His network is old and battered. He abandons her. A splash. The fish are small today, he says. As always, you reply. He nods. You're pulling the net. It's heavy. There's only one fish in it. It's small. You put it in the basket. The sand sticks to the scales. You cast the net again. A splash. You're waiting. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it. You are working. Hour after hour. Casting. Expectation. Traction. Sand. Sweat. Mosquitoes. The network is heavy. Sometimes there's fish in it. Sometimes not. You're dragging on. A splash. You're waiting. Time passes slowly. You're thinking about fish, about the Nile, about the sand. You get used to it. Lunch. The sun is at its zenith. The heat is unbearable. You go into the shadows. The nearest palm tree casts a narrow shadow. You sit down on the ground. The sand is warm and creaks. You take out a flatbread. She's as hard as this morning. Maybe yesterday's. There are several dates nearby. They're sweet and sticky. The sand sticks to your fingers. You chew slowly. The taste is familiar. The sand grates on my teeth. You get used to it. Or trying to. There is a clay bowl with beer in the basket. The beer is thick and sour. It looks like thin bread. It saves you from thirst. You drink slowly. Sand in the beer. On the teeth. You get used to it. Capri is sitting next to me. He's chewing on a flatbread. He drinks beer. The fish is small, he says again. Tomorrow will be better, you reply. He nods. But you both know it's going to be the same tomorrow. You're chewing. You're drinking. The sand creaks. Time passes slowly. You're looking at the Nile. The water glitters. You're thinking about fish. About the network. About the sand. About the house. Lunch is short. Strength is needed for work. You finish your beer. Sand on the teeth. You get up. The sand creaks. You take the network. You go to the water. A splash. You're waiting. Time passes slowly. Of the second day of fishing. The next day, you're back at Neil's. The sand creaks. The sun is burning. The network is heavy. You're throwing. A splash. You're waiting. The mosquitoes are buzzing. You shrug it off. You're pulling the net. It's heavy. There's a fish in it. Or nothing. The sand sticks. You're throwing again. Capri is nearby. Not enough fish, he says. As always, you reply. You're dragging on. A splash. You're waiting. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it. Lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. Sand on the teeth. You're sitting in the shade. Capri chews. The Nile doesn't give much, he says. Tomorrow will give you more, you reply. But you don't believe it. Time passes slowly. Cleaning the fish. The fish needs to be cleaned. You take a flint knife. It's sharp, but it's rough. The scales are sticky. The sand sticks to it. You're cutting. The scales fall to the ground. The sand mixes with it. The fish smells like the river. You're cleaning. Gradually. The knife slides. Sometimes it cuts your finger. The blood mixes with the scales. The sand sticks. You get used to it. You put the fish in the basket. Sand is everywhere. You clean the next one. Time passes slowly. Of the third day of fishing. On the third day, it's the same. The sand creaks. The network is heavy. A splash. You're waiting. You're dragging it out. The mosquitoes are buzzing. The sun is burning. Capri is nearby. The fish is gone, he says. It's back, you reply. There is only one fish in the net. It's small. You're throwing again. The sand creaks. You get used to it, lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. Sand on the teeth. You're thinking about the Nile. About the fish. About the sand. Time passes slowly. Historical details. Nets and fishnets were made of linen. The fibers are coarse and tough. They were woven by women. The nets were heavy. Wet. They were tearing up. You fixed them. Linen thread. It took time. Fish in the Nile: tilapia, catfish, perch. Sometimes it's big. More often it's shallow. You caught her for food. For drying. For the family. The Nile gave life. But not always fish. The sand got into the nets. Into the scales. Everywhere. You got used to it. The fourth day of fishing. On the fourth day, you're at the Nile. The sand creaks. The network is heavy. A splash. You're waiting. You're dragging it out. The sand sticks. Kepri is nearby. Small fish, he says. Tomorrow is better, you reply. You're dragging on. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it, lunch is the same. A flatbread. Dates. Beer. Sand on the teeth. You clean the fish. The knife cuts. The sand sticks. Time passes slowly. Comparison with modernity. You could take a fishing rod today. Or a nylon net. A light one. Solid. Without sand. The fish would be in the store. It's clean. Without scales. But in ancient Egypt, only flax. Only the Nile. Just sand. You're casting a net. A splash. You're waiting. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Evening and dinner. The sun is setting. The heat is subsiding, but not much. The sky turns orange, then purple. You're going home. The sand creaks underfoot. You're tired. My legs are as heavy as rocks. My hands ache from a hoe, a net, or clay. Your shoulder hurts, the same thing that hurt in the morning when you were carrying the jug. You are carrying a basket. There's a fish in it if the day was good. Or nothing if there were no fish. The sand sticks to the basket. At your feet. To your skin. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Or trying to get used to it. The path to the house is narrow and dusty. The sand creaks. The wind carries the smell of the Nile: water, silt, earth. Somewhere in the distance, a river is lapping. You're walking slowly. Step by step. The sun disappears below the horizon. The shadows are lengthening. The evening in ancient Egypt is quiet. Only the rustle of the wind. Splashing of water. The creak of sand. You reach the house. The mud brick walls are dark in the twilight. It smells of earth, smoke, and food inside. You're coming in. The sand creaks underfoot. The wife is at the hearth. The hearth is a depression in the earthen floor. The branches are smoldering in it. The smoke stings my eyes. But you get used to it. She's cooking dinner. Tortillas. More tortillas. They're as hard as in the morning. Like yesterday. Next to it is a bow. Everyone eats it. In the morning. In the daytime. In the evening. Sometimes there are beans. Or lentils. If the day was good, there is fish. You clean it. A flint knife cuts through the skin. The scales are sticky. The sand sticks. You chew slowly. The taste is simple. Monotonous. The sand grates on my teeth. You get used to it, you sit down on the mat. She's tough. The sand is under it. The kids are running around in the corner. The sand creaks under their feet. You're asking them to be quieter. They don't listen. You sigh. It's an ordinary evening. The wife puts the tortillas on a hot stone. The smell is warm, but with smoke. With sand. You're eating. You drink beer. It's thick and sour. There's sand in it. You get used to it. Hygiene after dinner, hygiene. There is no bathroom. You take a bowl of water. The water is warm, from a jug. With silt. You take a rag. It is coarse, made of linen. You're wiping yourself. The sand is still on the skin. In my hair. On my feet. You rub harder. The sand is falling. But not all of it. You get used to it. My wife washes the kids. They're running. The water splashes. The sand sticks. You sigh. It is okay. The second evening, the next night, it's the same. The sand creaks. You're coming back. My legs are heavy. My hands are aching. The wife is at the hearth. The smoke stings my eyes. Tortillas. Onions. Pea. Maybe a fish. Sand on the teeth. You're chewing. You drink beer. The kids are running. You're asking for a hush. They don't listen. You're wiping yourself. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Historical details. Food in hearth. The cakes were made from barley or emmer. The grain was ground on a stone. The flour was kneaded with water. The sand got into the dough. The hearth was simple, a pit in the floor. Branches of palm or acacia. The smoke stung my eyes. Beer was brewed from barley. It was thick. With sediment. The sand got into it. You got used to it. Comparison with modernity. You could turn on the stove today. Or a microwave oven. The food would be without sand. The water is clean, from the tap. But in ancient Egypt, it was only a hearth. Just tortillas. Just sand. You're chewing. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Religion and rituals. You are standing in front of the house. Morning. The sun has just risen. You raise your hands to the sky. Pray to Ra, the sun god. Ask for a good day. Harvest. Fish. Healths. The sand creaks underfoot. You bow. Gradually. Your words are simple. Ra, give us the light. Give us life. You're repeating yourself. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. In the evening, you pray to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. Ask for protection. For myself. For the family. You put a small statue in the corner of the house. It's made of clay. Simple. There's sand on it. You bow. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Sometimes you go to the temple. He's far away. The sand burns my feet. You are bringing a gift, a flatbread, a fish. The priest accepts. He mutters prayers. You're standing. The sand creaks. The heat is oppressive. You get used to it. The second day of rituals, the next day you pray again. Morning or evening is Osiris. Or Anubis. The sand creaks. You bow. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Historical details. Gods and amulets. Ra was the sun god. Osiris, the afterlife. Anubis is the guide of the dead. You were wearing amulets. Clay ones. Stone ones. The sand stuck to them. The temples were made of stone. For the rich. You rarely went. The sand creaked. You got used to it. Comparison with modernity. Prayers are easier today. Or there aren't any. There is no sand. There are no statuettes. But in Egypt, it's Ra Osiris. Sand. You are praying. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Social life and community. You go to the canal. There's a neighbor by the water. His name is Seti. His bandage is dirty. There's sand on it. The heat is worse than yesterday, he says. Tomorrow is even worse, you reply. You scoop up the water. The sand creaks. You're going back. The conversation is short. Strength is needed for work. You get used to it. Sometimes you get together with the neighbors. By the hearth. In the evening. The sand creaks. You're eating tortillas. You drink beer. Talk about the Nile. About the fish. About the field. Will the Nile spill soon? Asks Seti. Maybe in a week, the other replies. You nod. Sand on the teeth. You get used to it. Community is important. You help each other. Fix the house. To weave a network. Pray. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Second day with the community. The next day, you meet Seti. The sand creaks. The fish is small, he says. As always, you reply. You go to the canal. Sand is everywhere. You get used to it. Historical details. The community lives together. Shared water. Food. Work. There was sand everywhere. You helped. Fix the roof. To make baskets. The sand creaked. You got used to it. Comparison with modernity. Today you are calling your friends. Or you're writing. Without sand. In Egypt, there is only the voice. Just the hearth. Just sand. You say. The sand creaks. You get used to it. Conclusion and recurring days. You waking up. The sand creaks. The sun breaks through the cracks. You go to get water. The sand burns. The jug is heavy. You're digging. Or sculpt. Or fishing. Sand is everywhere. You're eating tortillas. You drink beer. Sand on the teeth. The night is coming. The mosquitoes are buzzing. You lie down. The sand creaks. You get used to it day after day. Sand. Heat. Work. Eating. Sleeping. Time passed slowly in ancient Egypt. You wouldn't have lasted a day. Sand is everywhere. There is no soft bed. There is no clean water. Only the Nile. Just sand. You get used to it. Or trying to. Today you are in your own time. A soft bed. Clean water. Without sand. Close your eyes. Listen to the wind. Splashing of water. The sand creaks. But that's just the story. Sleep well.